My name is Henry, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to prepare for your GCSE mocks in November. Most people have mocks in November. This video can be applied to mocks further on the line as well, but this is my best advice. For a bit of context, I got 10 9s in my GCSE, so 9 in every subject I took. So if you're new here, please leave a like and make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be doing loads of GCSE content along with A-level content for this whole year to help you get all 9s or the grades that you want. So I just want to start by saying a couple important things. Firstly, I want to take the pressure off these upcoming mocks, okay? GCSE mocks are a really good indicator, especially early on mocks, are a very good indicator of where you are now. And I think even if you did no revision, you would still benefit from seeing how you did in those mocks. So even if you do terribly, you can treat it as a kind of kickstart, and it's a really useful indicator for you to see which subjects you're better at and which subjects you're worse at. Also, for a bit of context, in my November mocks, so in November year 11, I got a 3 in chemistry. So I failed chemistry. I got a 6 in biology, I believe, a 7 in physics, 6 or 7 in maths, I can't remember, I think a 7, and an 8 in English language, which I've always been quite naturally good at. So my mocks were good, but I did fail chemistry, and they weren't excellent. I didn't do all of my subjects. I reckon if I did do a lot of subjects like geography and stuff, I would have done a lot worse, because I hadn't really revised for them. And my point is, I went on to get 10 9s. So I got a 9 in chemistry, 10% over the grade boundary. So even if your mocks go badly, and I'm going to do a video on this, there's still hope, and they're just useful indicator. So the main thing that you should be doing in these mocks, and the main method for these mocks, is just to begin kind of basic revision and make sure you explore and understand your subjects. So I'm going to get into this now with this 4-point plan that I've come up with. These 4 Ps is what I would do to prepare for my mocks. So the first P is to plan, okay? What I mean by this, quite simply, is you need to know what mocks you have, and you need to know what papers you're doing, okay? And you need to make a note of this and make sure you know the dates, and just make sure you're planned and you're structured and you know all of that. I would recommend getting a planner, okay? You're going to need one for this year. Cancer Research have just dropped their new one, 2025. I've got these, for some reason I just got a Cancer Research diary when I was first in year 11. This was the first one I ever got, and since then I've got 3 more, and this is the one for 2025. It starts from December though, so it doesn't quite work for your mocks, but that's a cheap planner if you want one. And what you should be doing is find out your mocks, find out the papers you're doing, and write it down. Just make sure you have a good idea of what you're doing, so you're not really revising content that you don't need. For example, you may just be doing 2 maths papers, or you may just be doing chemistry paper 1, so don't revise chemistry paper 2. That's point 1. Next up is point 2, which is prioritise. So we have a month until November, a month until your mocks pretty much, and you just don't have time to recap your entire GCSE syllabus for each subject. So this is one of my strongest and most important pieces of advice. What I would do is I would write down all the subjects I've got in my mocks. You could also do all your subjects if you want to do more general revision, and I would rank between 1 or 3 or 1 to 10 your confidence for each subject, and also how important each subject is for you. For example, your science mocks may decide whether you do triple science or double science. And if you really want to do triple science, that you obviously want to focus on science revision, okay? So it's important to know where to prioritize your time. What I would be doing though is I'd rank all my subjects and I'd look at the subjects I'm worst at. For example, maybe I was naturally good at English language, and what I should have done if I went back is look at my subjects and think, okay, chemistry I'm really unconfident at. So focus your time and your revision on the subjects you're bad at. Make sure you have an idea of which subjects you're better at and can afford to do a little bit less revision, and which subjects you're worst at and which subjects are more important to you. Step 3 is papers, the third P. What I mean by papers is you need to have an idea of what your GCSE papers look like. So many students go into their actual exams without having even really seen a GCSE paper. This is one of the easiest things to do, but I would recommend you now or after this video or soon, go and Google and look up all of your papers for your exam boards, okay? So for example, just take a look at an Edexcel English Language Paper 1 if you do Edexcel, or AQA or anything like that, okay? Go and look at your papers. I think that's really useful because you just need to have a good feel for what your papers are like. And you also need to know the structures and how you should be writing each question. For something like maths, this is a little bit easier, but for the humanities and essay writing subjects, they often have quite specific structures. English literature, for example. So make sure you know what you should be doing for each question. So many students have no idea like how to answer each question, and there are lots and lots of little tips your teachers will have given you, or I have, or anything like that. So make sure you take a look online, find some good YouTubers for your subjects. I've done a GCSE resource video. I've done loads of videos pointing you to the right resources, and I'll continue to do so. But my point is, know the layout of all the papers you're doing, know what they look like so you're familiar with it in the exam, and learn how to answer and how to write each question. That's really important, because once you've done that, then it will be the only thing holding you back in your actual mocks will mainly be your lack of knowledge. So that will really help you focus on where to revise and where to improve your knowledge. But make sure you know how you should be writing and answering each question, and you're familiar with your papers. So my final point here is to practice. Now this involves finding your weakest topics for each subject, okay? So once you've found your weak subjects, then you need to find your weak topics. You may only be doing 4 chemistry topics for your mocks, for example. Think, which one of these is my worst? And once you've found your worst, then you have a much better place to start with revision, okay? Lots of people are kind of a bit daunted by revising chemistry, because what does that mean? You know, where do you start? My answer to that is start at your weakest point. Don't revise stuff you know, okay? Prioritise and revise the stuff you don't know. So you need to find the topics you're bad at and start practicing and revising them. And how would I revise them? What I would do for science, for example, is Seneca. I would just do the Seneca courses for each of them. 3 science lessons, Cognito. I've done loads of videos on how to revise more specific subjects, so it is worth having a look at that. This year, I'm kind of re-uploading all of those videos in a much higher quality, now that I have more time to edit and all of that stuff. So practice and find your weak topics, okay? YouTube is really helpful. As I said, 3 science lessons. But make sure you're not just watching a video. Make sure you're taking it in. You're making notes. You're making flashcards, okay? Maths is quite easy to revise. You can do lots of practice questions. Same with science. Same with English. Almost everything you can practice and do practice essay questions and hand them into your teachers and get feedback. Or you could self-mark in maths. This does depend slightly on you though, what revision works for you. There are lots of ideas and lots of methods out there. So your mocks is a chance to really practice that. For example, when I was in year 11 in October, on the 3rd of October, I was doing this blurting sheet for history. I was trying to work out whether blurting works for me. Overall, I found that it didn't. So experiment, but practice. And this brings me on to the sponsor of today's video, which is brilliant.org. So brilliant.org is a website used to learn maths and science. The reason I love Brilliant is because it's so interactive. Brilliant's principle is to learn by actually doing, and they have thousands of interactive courses. This is so much more effective than just watching a maths video or watching a YouTube video. You need to actually be doing maths and visualizing maths, and that's what Brilliant does so effectively. They've just released lots of new courses on mathematical concepts such as vectors, and I think it's really effective as well at building a daily learning habit and getting the foundations of maths in. If you go to brilliant.org/Henry Brand or click the link in the description, you can get 30 days off Brilliant for free. So this will literally take you right up until your mocks, and you can have 30 days free to practice on Brilliant, and you also get 20% off a premium annual subscription. So I'd really recommend brilliant.org for your maths revision and to make sure you can get sort of a good understanding of some mathematical concepts before your mocks. One final point is I would also treat your mock season like an actual exam season, because that's the point of it, okay? GCSE students, unlike A-level students, won't have actually sat exams before when they do them. So mocks are a great experience to try and find some sort of exam routine that works for you. One thing as well I would recommend is last year for GCSEs, and I'm going to do it again this year, I released loads of videos the night before for each paper. Have a watch of these videos. The link is going to be in the description. Have a watch of them the night before and then 2 days before your exams, and try and kind of treat this like exam season, because that will really help you and make you feel a little bit more confident when the exams actually come around, which is what it's all about and which is what practice mocks are all about. I hope this video was really helpful. I want you to take the main point from this is to relax about them, okay? They are not some crazy stressful thing. If anything, if you do bad, it can be actually a better jump start than if you do really well and get complacent, okay? I got a 3 in chemistry and got a 9 only 6 months later. So don't stress your mocks. Use it as a time to explore revision. Use it as a time to get used to your subjects and explore your subjects. And also try your best, and I'm sure you will all do amazingly. Leave any questions in the comments. Email me anything you want. I will answer all the questions you have for your mocks on any subject I can. So yeah, please make sure to leave a like and please as well subscribe and share this video. Thank you for watching.